Good evening, everyone. So before I lose sunlight, I do want to try and graft this Java plum tree. I did plant it from seed. Since I don't know how long it'll take for it to give fruit, I am going to graft it. When you hear that a tree has been grafted or that it's grafted, all it means is they take a branch or a cutting from a mature tree and they attach it onto another tree that's still, I guess you can call it a baby, and as the tree heals, it's gonna think that it's already an adult. So all I did to prepare these cuttings or these pieces is I literally just, it's kind of hard with one hand, but I just grabbed it and pulled on it. There we go. And then I just cut off the tip, and that is it. So even though you can't really tell right now that there's anything going on, but by doing this, it's gonna cause these, I guess, little nodes where the leaves were to want to grow into branches. So that's what I did. I don't know how long ago it was, but you can already see that the tree is trying to push new growth. It was that one and this one right here. Let me see. There you go. So you can see them starting to sort of get bigger. They're still small. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it real quick. Kind of hard with one hand, but let me cut it real quick. There we go. The only thing I'm going to use to graft is some sort of blade, in this case a grafting knife, a rubber band, and grafting tape. This piece, all I'm going to do is I'm going to seal the top with grafting tape. That will keep the cutting from getting dehydrated or drying out. All right, and that's it. So that's all I'm going to do right here. And then this end is the end that I'm going to cut sort of like a V shape or a pointed shape. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't know how long it will take this seedling or this plant or tree that I planted from seed to bear fruit. So I'm going to speed things up by attaching it to this tree. This tree will heal itself. I'll eventually get rid of this piece, and this piece is going to keep growing, and it's going to think that it's still an adult or a mature tree, and it'll speed up the process of giving fruit. Alright, so all I'm going to do now is get rid of some of these branches. And the only reason I'm doing this is so that there's still some nutrients going up and down the tree. So what I like to do is make the cut as deep as possible. That way there's more connection between the cutting and the rootstock. So if you look online, there's many different ways. Some places they straight up just cut the entire tree and then attach it there. But also one thing to consider is that this thickness is not the same as this one. So I will have to find a spot for it, but that's pretty easy. You'll see. As you can see, the cut is pretty deep, but it's okay. If this was still big and everything, then because I removed half of it, there was a chance that it could break, but that should be good. See, there you go. Nothing perfect, but just pointy, and it does expose different, I guess, layers of the cutting. So this should do the trick. Even though they're different sizes or different thickness in between the cutting and the rootstock, they should take, because this will want to heal, and as it heals, it will heal with the cutting in it. But if you look on this side, you're gonna see that there's a huge, oh, let me just spin the tree. You're gonna see that there's a big difference, a big gap. Some places they'll actually put another cutting on this side, just in case, you know, this one doesn't take, the other one will. So different techniques, you know, just look online and try different ones to see which one works for you. So now all I'm going to do is attach the rubber band so it has a bit more pressure right here, and that's it. Not too tight, because it will, you know, it can suffocate or cut into the cutting, but that only usually happens if the rootstock or the cutting, they're too soft. But this, I guess, bark seems a lot thicker, so it should be okay. Now before I finish all this, I do have to seal it with grafting tape. So all I'm going to do is, because there's a lot of dead bark here, I'm just going to remove it so that creates a good seal for the grafting tape. So now this thing was left in my shed, and as you can see, it's sort of melted together a bit. So it's still usable, you just gotta mess around with it. Alright, so the way the tape goes, I like to start from the bottom up, or, you know, simply because every time I do a loop with the grafting tape, it covers or it seals over the one at the bottom. And if I did it backwards from the top down, water may just get in there. Alright, so it's looking pretty good. The last piece I gotta seal off is, I guess, the top, in between the rootstock and the cutting, because bugs, debris, dirt, water can get in there and mess the cutting or where the wound is. So I gotta seal that up real quick. So almost there. Just doing a couple passes through the inside and stretching it to the sides, and that should do it. But because this grafting tape's pretty messed up, I'm gonna grab another rubber band just to secure the grafting tape real quick, and that's it. Now, one thing that I'm going to do is I am going to repot it onto a bigger pot, because this one, the roots are already coming out, you know, the top and the bottom. So I do want to give it a place to grow. And then once, you know, this has gone new cuttings, or sorry, once this cutting has its own leaves and branches, you know, then later on I'll just, you know, go ahead and cut this piece off. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave it there so that way nutrients can keep flowing up and down. Just in case the cutting doesn't take, I can try and graft again later. But it should work, and if it does, I'll have a brand new tree. Thanks, everyone.